This, my friends, as you can see in the caption, is the all-new 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. I'll tell you right now, I really like this car. But I've been trying to figure out how to start this video, and I can't wrap my brain around it right now, but give me a chance, please. You know, sometimes when an automaker comes out with a trim, I don't know why Ford Adrenaline comes out, or Timberline, or I don't know, any sub-trim, Denali. There's a ton of examples like that. Some really work and others don't quite work. And usually that is based on the first model that is introduced with that new trim or version or sub-brand or whatnot. And in Subaru's case, the Subaru Outback Wilderness has to be, bar none, one of my absolute favorite cars. In fact, I recently reviewed an Outback and did very specifically say that if I had, not stupid money, but if I had money, I would absolutely buy an autumn green Outback Wilderness, source a 6-speed manual transmission from either an STI or WRX, whatever, that I can bolt on and probably be satisfied for a very long time. Okay, so back to Wilderness. The second model that came out with the Wilderness package, if you will, over at Subaru was the Forester. And in short, it looks horrible. It looks ill in a way. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. It sounds absolutely awful. It remains a great compact SUV, large compact SUV, but with the Wilderness package, I don't know, it loses whatever semblance of attractiveness or styling. And I'm semi-glad to say that when it comes to the Crosstrek, well, it's kind of in between. There are certain decisions that Subaru made when they introduced the Wilderness version of the all-new Crosstrek, which incidentally obviously is the same as the all-new Impreza, which I reviewed last fall, I believe. There's certain things about this car that are fantastic, others not so fantastic. But the point is that I think it's going to be a very popular version. But if it's not, I can point out at least one reason why it might not be. I don't think that was absolutely necessary. I mean, I'm down with this. But anyway, so in the following video, as per the norm, we'll do the usual tour of the car in question and then take it for a drive. And it's snowing not that hard right now, but I swear like 20 minutes ago, maybe a half an hour ago, it wasn't snowing at all. So if the image is kind of weird, I apologize. I'm not in control of this. In fact, I'm in control of absolutely nothing. Please hang in there. Here we go. Okay, I think I realized that in my introduction, I forgot to specify that I am actually a big fan of the Wilderness idea or the package. It's, I mean, who doesn't love, rugged looking, extra ground clearance and all of that stuff that comes with these Wilderness cars or on any other vehicle. I mean, anything off-road-ish, even though it'll never see anything more serious than gravel. It's really hot right now. Okay, pricing in the US for the base Crosstrek, $25,195. In the top trim, which is the Wilderness, this one, $32,195. Canada, the base car is the Convenience for $28,995. So included with that, you get 17-inch wheels, EyeSight, X mode, the dual 7-inch screens, heated front seats. So features, obviously with symmetrical all-wheel drive and all that. So features, not too bad for the price. In fact, it's not the least expensive, but it's one of the more affordable all-wheel drive vehicles you can buy in Canada. Top trim is the one that is before you right now, Wilderness, $37,995. You also get 17-inch wheels, but they are unique to the car. Very cool, I have to admit. As well as these Geolandar AT tires, which are snowflake rated, but not entirely really good winter tires. I've done a lot of mileage with this car in the past week, and let's just say I'm having too much slideways fun. What? All-terrain tires, I mentioned those. Okay, so you got the soft touch seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which are wireless, heated front seats, heated steering wheel, the 11.6-inch display, dual mode X drive, LED fog lights, all the cladding, unique bumpers. You know, essentially what makes Wilderness. I mean, I kind of noted that this is too much. I absolutely agree. I don't know. If it wasn't there, I think it would just look a lot cleaner from the side, from this angle. And this badge, I'm okay with that, I guess. Maybe I would have put it a little bit higher, but I don't know anything about design, whatever. One thing that I do kind of like on this versus the Forester is the front bumper, obviously unique to the Wilderness, is not as pinched as the one on the Forester. It's got a little bit more of an air dam in the front, if you know what I mean. So that's okay. And actually, one thing I do like, which is kind of pickup-y, but it's the Subaru stamped across the back like that, and the anodized, copper-colored trim accent thingies. I like it. I mean, it's a cool car, but you know what the thing is? As odd, this geyser blue, I definitely goes with anodized copper, which is kind of like anodized copper. That's the color of the trim pieces, but there's a sun blaze, which is really nice, alpine green, which is fantastic, and even ice silver would work so much nicer with this, with the cladding and all that. I think that's it for the tour. Okay, so trunk, no power hatch. You know, it's a compact car. So 566 liters of boot space. It's very usable. I mean, a colleague and I drove to Toronto in this car, and we had our luggage and our suits and all that. And there's plenty of room for the two of us. I mean, as I always say, compact cars are no longer compact. It's huge. I mean, the rear seat is very accessible. Yeah, the front passenger seat is all the way back, but still plenty of room back here. Among the unique, you know, touches with the Wilderness, well, you have the extra cross stitching, which is really nice. I mean, there's nothing spectacular going on here. It's just very functional. I love the switchgear in the Subarus. I don't know why, but it just really works for me. Seats, decently comfortable. Like I said, I drove to Toronto and back. There is power lumbar support, which is very nice, but it's borderline okay. Another touch that you get in this car, there's the anodized business. Get to climb aboard, start it up. Rear wipers on. So the 11.6-inch screen. There is one very specific difference between this and the Outback, and as silly as it might seem, it's the heated seat buttons, which are immediately accessible, like the heated steering wheel button. So you don't necessarily have to wait until all this loads to actually activate the seats, which is a small detail, but believe me, when it's minus 15 outside, you will appreciate it. There's nothing specific, new, or special about the screen. It's the same thing as in the Outback, as in the other vehicles. Is it going to work? Yeah, okay, with that. A few things I do want to show you. Vehicle dynamics control. X mode. You leave it normal. I don't know. Cruise control. That was annoying too. Okay, so that eyesight. I'll tell you about that now. So the eyesight is excessively annoying and hyperactive. That's why most of it is off. As much as I can turn off, I always turn it off. Plus, with the driving conditions, which were like this, it turned off almost all the time, which did not enable me to use the intelligent cruise control. It would just shut it off completely. Another weird thing that I kind of find annoying is that features like the auto vehicle hold reset themselves every time I start it. That may be because I don't have a profile. It's not my car, obviously, but anyway, we'll leave it at that. Driving assistance, I don't know. There isn't much else to say. I mean, as obviously right now, it's fairly responsive. Wireless charge pad. Storage is kind of limited. I mean, if you use that for a phone or for your sunglasses or a wallet, well, you're pretty much done. Actually, this for the wallet works out nicely. This is fairly deep. Door bins are okay. What else can I say? Visibility is always Subaru. I mean, it's like a staple now. Visibility is just absolutely fantastic. And I have to say, I do like steering wheel, and oh yeah, sport and intelligent for the drive modes. I'll tell you a little bit more about that once we get on the road. And I think actually we're going to do that right now. All right. One of the things that I do enjoy about this, and I forgot to mention it when I was talking about the styling, is just the added ground clearance. I don't know. At one point, we'll be able to walk under production cars, and we're going to call it enough ground clearance. You never know. I mean, with the global climate crisis and flooding, maybe we'll need vehicles with 6 feet of ground clearance. Oh, that's black, dark. But yeah, this thing, I mean, the regular Outback has like 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is nuts. And when you step up to the Willderness, you get 9.3 inches of ground clearance, which, I mean, you're in serious off-road SUV, production off-road SUV category when it comes to, hello, Mr. Civic. Thank you for the warning. Yeah, so yeah, that's my tripod, apologies. So extra ground clearance, but it really doesn't affect handling. I mean, the Crosstrek is still, it's fun, it's tossable, and it's interesting because back to back now I'll have reviewed the Outback and this, and they share a lot of components. And though I love the Outback, I love even more smaller cars because they're so much more agile, they're lighter, more responsive, and that really also impacts the powertrain, because once you step into the Crosstrek and a few other trims, as well as, like, say, the Impreza or 2.5 RS, now you get the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated, horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine, which produces 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. So this same engine is in the Outback. That is, I haven't checked. I should have checked. I should have checked. Probably 600 pounds more than this car, 400, somewhere around there. And it absolutely shows. I mean, okay, so, I mean, I wish perhaps maybe one day before they go all electrified, Subaru will put a 2.4 liter turbo in a Crosstrek, as they do in the WRX. It's very, very doubtful. But suffice it to say that, I mean, power is good. And the CVT, as I've said in past reviews, I mean, I've lost that battle, and it's fine. You got the 8 gears with the paddle shifters. If you put it in manual mode, it'll stay. And about the sport and intelligent drive modes, in sport, it just, throttle response is a little sharper, and it locks out like 7th and 8th gear, whatever, so it keeps the revs a little bit higher. But beyond that, it changes absolutely nothing. I did a lot of, passing on the highway in Toronto I survived, I made it. Fuel consumption, right? So according to Subaru, you'll average maybe a little under 9 liters per 100 kilometers in combined driving, which is a considerable amount for a compact car. And despite the fact that out of the 1,500 kilometers, give or take, that I put on this car, close to 1,300 were done on the highway, maybe slightly above the speed limit. But yeah, anything under 10.5 is not gonna happen. So I think maybe normal drivers are gonna average somewhere between 9.5 and 10. I mean, this is the dead of winter, although it's been very mild, not that cold. One of the things that I found surprising, which is one of the elements that I love to mention the most when I review a Subaru, is steering. And I don't know what it is, I mean, it still feels like Subaru steering response, but it's a little bit neater, tighter, more generic, which isn't a bad thing, it's a fine thing. And then there's brakes. Brakes are, nice and powerful, up to the task with this. Look, the bottom line is, for 38 grand, it's not a bad option. I mean, I really, really like it, but for that kind of money, you're so close to Outback greatness, in my opinion, of course, that would be my go-to when it comes to spending that kind of money for a non-SUV, I'm not gonna. This is not a crossover. Well, it's a hatchback. Oh, fine. You know, Outback is still peak top, even if with the 2.5 and the base cars. Not that it struggles, but it's not as quick as maybe someone would like, such as I. But look, in a segment for this kind of money, in a Rogue, any compact SUV, they will be a little bit more spacious, you know, maybe more not compact but subcompact, like an HRV or the CX-30. And out of all of those, I still get a Crosstrek because it's just so much cooler. Also because it's not really an SUV. So that's it. I'm done. Love this thing. Really, really do.